is with us.
She has risen. Joining us right now for her weekly segment each and every Wednesday, analyst for your Sacramento Kings, Kayte Christensen. Good morning, Kayte.
Well, good morning, fellas.
All right, so let's just break it down before we get in, because I was just explaining. I always call you before the segment. I had a feeling this was a quick turnaround from last night, so there might be a sleepy pants going on. I didn't hear from you, and then Chris called you. It was going right to voicemail. Did we just wake up 30 seconds ago?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
That a girl. How are you?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good morning.
Well, I'm good. This is my post, like Christmas, like where you don't get any sleep. And as a mom, when you've got kids, like you don't get to sleep in ever. So
yeah,
the only opportunity is on the road. Well, and if I'm being honest, I never know what day of the week it is.
That's actually pretty normal for
you.
Yes, it is Wednesday, December 27th. And no, last night was not a nightmare. The Sacramento Kings lost to a 7-win team. As a matter of fact, I put together some statistics for you, Kayte, because I know you're a numbers girl here. Yesterday, the Kings played a Portland team that was 7-21. They were 3-10 at home. They lost 9 of 10. They lose their games by an average of over 7 points a game. They lost to a 5-24 Washington team last Thursday in Portland, and they were missing some keys. This is not a first. This is not something new. This isn't a blip. This isn't just, well, it happens in the NBA season. This is a pattern for the Sacramento Kings, and myself, Jason, and the entire Sacramento Kings fan base, which is tuning in right now, want to know from you, Kayte, why this is happening.
Yeah, I can break it down exactly. Yeah, I have the answer for you.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Thank you. We're ready.
Listen, I understand the frustration and kind of the questioning of it, right? Like that's kind of the most puzzling thing about this team this season is the fact that, you're either winning or you're losing kind of by big deficits. And, you look at, I look at this a little bit differently. Like, I don't know. Since the beginning of the season, like watching Portland, I'm like, this team is dangerous to me because they're young and they're energetic and they're athletic. And, last night you have a couple guys out, and what it does is it opens a door for a couple other guys that are like chomping at the bit to get time, to get an opportunity. And, Reith and, Walker off the bench, they were fantastic. And, I don't think this Portland team is, a bad team. I think they're a young team, an inexperienced team, and they just have to kind of go through it and the bumps and the bruises and figure it out. But I definitely think this is a team that is talented enough and has enough, scoring power to beat any team on any given night. So I will say that. But that doesn't excuse the fact that the Kings came out lethargic. They came out, the first quarter was, I think it was 33-32 kind of lead. And then it was, to me, like that second quarter, De'Aaron Fox had 17 points. It wasn't a De'Aaron or a Domas problem. It was an everybody else problem. You get outscored by the bench 27-2 in the second quarter and just get stumped by their second unit. And there's no response. Absolutely nobody else offensively really stepped up through the course of the night. Like, you have Domas and De'Aaron that score over 70 combined. Like, what more can you ask from them? Like, nothing. However, defensively, I thought it was just a terrible effort from just about everybody on the floor last night. And that is not okay.
Kayte, Dave and I were talking about this earlier too, just, almost 30 games in. So we're getting pretty far into the season now. And I don't think the sky is falling on this team, but I also feel like, to use the team's words, Mike Brown's words, they want to go from good to great. And I don't think this group, the way they're constructed, personally can get to that. Now, I think they're fine. They're good. But in your mind, as you watch them, what would be the area you think that Monty McNair, Wes Wilcox, that group could address that would make a difference, that would get them closer to being great? Is that a specific trait? I don't know. I'm not saying a player, but like defense, another playmaker, rim protect. Like, is there something you think would help this team the fastest?
I would say defense is the one thing that would help this team the fastest. And, you look at like Portland last night, right? Like Matisse Thybulle is a great example. He's one of the best wing defenders in the league. And it's interesting, talking to Chauncey Billups last night, like Thybulle was not a great 3-point shooter. He's shooting the 3 ball really well in Portland. And it really comes down to like his last stop, as Chauncey put it. But, Philly, like he was not allowed to shoot 3. So he had like zero confidence. To me, what the Kings need is one of those elite level defenders that you just know that they're going to make an impact. And I think that's the difficult part, right? You have a lot of guys that provide a lot of offense, but what about the nights where, like last night, where they're not able to knock down buckets, not able to knock down threes? Like, what else do you provide, right? So I think, that's to me the big piece. But I think that's probably the case for a lot of teams. I can't tell you a player that I'm like, oh yeah, like exactly like this guy. I think a lot of teams are searching for the exact same things, and it's kind of few and far between, right? I don't think there's a lot of these guys, these unicorns that exist in the league.
Yeah, it makes you wonder as Kayte Christensen joins us. And to be clear, we don't usually talk trade market and trades. And Kayte, you and I, we haven't talked about this even off the air. But there's been this ongoing debate as it, national and local media all agree that it's very likely Monty McNair and friends will make a move this year. And you hear names like Lauri Markkanen, who isn't even really available, Zach LaVine. And the problem there I consistently have is, would they make the Kings better? Sort of. And we can get into the intricacies of each of those guys' individual game, but we don't need the offense. The offense has been slacking this year compared to last year, but I think that's a lot because Mike Brown has been trying to slow play these guys into playing more defense, and it's taken away from the offense. It does make me wonder, though, when you talk about unicorns, you could talk about, I don't know. I always say a healthy Ben Simmons, a Mikal Bridges, somebody that, Matisse Thybulle would help as well. It does make you wonder if Monty McNair had, instead of re-signing certain guys, if he had added a Dylan Brooks, what this team would look like this year, which kind of scares me because I can't stand Dylan Brooks, but I have to admit that's the type of wing defense we need.
Yeah. I agree in the sense that you really, I think any team is better with if they have in their employ an elite level wing defender. And I was talking with Kyle about this last night after the game. We had dinner upstairs at the hotel, and Kyle and I were sitting there talking, and the post-mortem, if you will, from the game. And it was kind of the same question, like, what do you think that the front office is going to do? What do you think Monty and Wes are going to do? And here's kind of my view on things. From what I've gathered from listening to Mike Brown and kind of being around Wes and Monty, they're kind of the mind. And if you look at the moves that they've made over the last several years, they're not big splashy moves. They're not, getting overly involved in the trade market. And by the way, this is what we know on the outside. On the inside, we don't know what moves they've tried to make that didn't work out.
Post the bonus, of course.
Yes. No, but this is what I'm saying. Like, they're not that they made the big Sabonis move, but they're not. Let's go back to Pete D'Alessandro, right? Like, there's an example, trying to get involved in everything. Like, there is that kind of, there's the GMs that kind of try to play big in it. My thing is that from what you've heard Mike Brown talk about, he is really kind of about keeping a group that you have together and actually letting them develop. And I think one of the things that we get caught in is this team, we know that they have massive potential. So we kind of want them to get from, A to Z really fast without going through all the steps in between to get there. And I think right now what's going on is a step. Is there a piece or two that will make a difference? I'm sure there is. But you kind of got to trust Wes and Monty in that front office in terms of making the right decision. But I think that, to me, like we were talking about Zach LaVine in particular, I'm like, I don't know that that's a good move. Right. And he's like, okay, well, why not? I said, okay, well, you've got De'Aaron Fox and you've got Domantas Sabonis. What more is Zach LaVine going to do for us? Is he going to be an elite level defender? No, he's not. Is he going to fit into this offensive system? That's a big question. Is he going to be unselfish? Look at Harrison Barnes, who can go, he's played well as of late, scoring the ball. But what happens when he doesn't touch the ball for 5-10 games and it's not getting double-digit scoring? People start to freak out. Well, he doesn't freak out because he knows it's the system. You've got to find someone that is going to fit into the system and be okay with it. And the reality of it is the third star on this team is Keegan Murray.
Yep.
He's just in his second year, though. So are we patient enough to let him develop? So this is kind of, I think, the things that they look at around this team. And yeah, I think there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way. I just think that, and understandably, people are excited and they want to see them be at championship level. And I think they have some lessons to learn, clearly, to get there.
Also, Keegan needs to quit switching jerseys with his brother when they play Portland. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. Katie, get yourself some coffee and do your thing. We appreciate you joining us. Yeah, go back to sleep maybe. When do you guys fly out today?
We fly out. There's film at 10 a.m. and we leave directly after, and then go to Atlanta and practice.
Okay, we'll have fun out there. I hear the nightlife in Atlanta is great, but the traffic sucks. So figure it out. Have fun. Have a blast. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next year.
All right, guys.
All right, take care.